How's it going, YouTube? I just got done working outside. That's why I got my dirty hat on. I just heard from Logan that 0.6 of you are subscribed. Not 6%, 0.6%. Logan, editing Logan, below me. Shirley Grab. That's pathetic. Look at me. That's pathetic. We can do TikTok popping off. Facebook is going crazy. And YouTube, of all the places, 0.6% of you are subscribed that watch the videos. It's not hard. It is free. And it would give me warm, fuzzy feelings inside. That's all I'm asking. Not a lot. Honestly, it's a half a calorie to click a mouse button on the allotted area. Maybe a whole calorie if you count moving the mouse. Just please, click the subscribe button.
Hello and welcome to the Jimmer Fredette episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 75, which is in honor of his career-high 75-point game in the Chinese Basketball Association. My name is Logan Wertman, recording this one on the evening of Tuesday, February 20th, and as usual, I'm joined by my miniature co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Jimmer Fredette episode?
It feels better than anyone could know. Shanghai Sharks, BYU, G League for the Kings, I think. Legend.
I think so. Yeah. Stockton Kings.
The Stockton Kings legend, Jimmer Fredette. Man, glad we're here. 75 episodes. That's also kind of a landmark, big one. But I am glad that it's here. Miniature is a great adjective. Makes me feel good. I've been doing some running, having this beautiful weather. For those that don't live in the Midwest, we're in the middle of a heat wave.
Yeah.
In February, if the temperature says like 40, you're kind of happy. 50, you're like, this is delightful. We hit 70s in some places today, which is
really
wild. Yeah, it got up to 70 in a couple specks across the great state of Nebraska.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that being said, also great news that happened today and why I'm rocking NFL paraphernalia as opposed to NBA stuff. I had a dream, probably like late January, early February. I was sick, so your dreams are weird when you're like under the weather.
Fever dream. Mm-hmm.
This fever dream involved Nebraska defensive coordinator Tony White getting the job at UCLA after Chip Kelly left.
Okay.
So maybe I have the dates wrong. I just know that Chip Kelly had left. Tony White was brought up as one of the names that might go and take the job.
Head coach?
As the head coach, meaning Nebraska would lose its defensive coordinator.
Okay. Yeah.
Bill Belichick did not get a job in the NFL. So he's currently not having a job. I think he's going to be an analyst somewhere.
Okay.
I, in this dream, had this wild, like, Matt Rule and Bill Belichick are good buddies. They both love, like, football history, and they, like, chat it up. Well, it turns out that Bill Belichick and Matt Rule do know each other and are somewhat cordial with one another because Bill Belichick is the keynote speaker at the Nebraska's like coaching seminar.
Oh, interesting.
So Bill Belichick's going to be in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm going to take off work and go to it, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I threw on my Christian Gonzalez jersey because it was the Patriots jersey that fits me the best. And I don't want to put my Mac Jones on because that's a little tumultuous, unfortunately. But looking forward to the draft. I wish Belichick was still in Foxborough, but I'm excited about the Gerard Mayo era. But I just was like on the moon. Like, Bill Belichick's going to be in Nebraska. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have made it cooler is if he was, in fact, going to be like a defensive assistant and just get paid. I would have been on the moon. I would have gotten a Bill Belichick tattoo on my cheek, I think, my face. Like right here. But yeah, anyway, that was a totally off the wall thing to start.
Did Bill ever coach in the NCAA? Like
no. He was a like special teams guy for Cleveland, and then he was a defensive coordinator for the Giants, and then he became the head coach of the Patriots. Or maybe I've got the order wrong. Maybe the Browns was head coach. Anyway.
But it's all NFL.
an 8-time Super Bowl winning coach. 2 times as a defensive coordinator with the Giants, and Lawrence Taylor, LT.
Oh, wow. He
And
overlapped
then-
with Lawrence Taylor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because like when it wasn't retirement, but his leaving of the Patriots, he's like, I've had the privilege of coaching the greatest player at their,
But yeah, the two
Like-
goats, basically.
like the
Yeah.
defensive GOAT, the offensive GOAT, and then, not to be disrespected, the special teams GOAT, who retired today,
And the tight end goat. Gronk?
Matthew Slater. Gronk, I don't know if he's a tight end GOAT.
Oh, okay.
I think
guess
it might
don't-
be, like, he's up there for sure, but I was thinking about it, and like, this is not football theory.
Yeah.
I could keep going for a long time, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, that opens an interesting conversation that I would, if we weren't on a basketball show right now, I would continue with you. But
Yeah, we could do it sometime for sure.
yeah, we got to give the people what they came for, and that's to talk about basketball. Which this reminds me, I want to actually throw this out there as a shout out to my father-in-law, because he told me recently that he was listening to an episode. It was several episodes ago, and it was when we, for some reason, went into, it was like a half-hour thing on the NHL, guessing the teams. Yeah.
If you
And
know
he
the
was like-
teams, yeah.
He was like, "Don't ever do that again." He's like, "I'm listening to the show to try to get caught up on the NBA stuff," and I'm like, "Why are we talking about this?"
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Very valid. So we're going to try to keep it more focused today, even though we've got off to a little bit of a slow start in the basketball department. We touched on Jimmer, and I guess moving on to the NBA, though, which is where Jimmer has not had a lot of experience, and that is to talk about the people who have had, basically the most success, or are most, at least projected success in that field of, basketball, being the NBA, the greatest league on the planet. And the person who's basically going to take the mantle from LeBron, the face of the league, who, I think it kind of went from Jordan straight to LeBron almost. There was maybe a little bit in between period, but
a bit of Kobe, but I don't think that it was like,
at one
for
point
how,
it was like, I think Kobe kind of shared it with like KG and Tim Duncan and Shaq, especially,
and I also think it's interesting because I think, unfortunately, obviously Kobe like passed away. We lost him way earlier than anybody wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that he would have had like a face of basketball like post career. He just would have been like around. I feel like he would have been like a huge WNBA proponent. He would have been all in.
He
on
already
this,
was, yeah.
like he was. I feel like this Steph Ionescu shootout thing. I think that would have been all over his. He would have been everywhere parading it, and so he did not have his time as a player as the quote unquote face. With how like big of an all-time player he was in that top 15, top 10 range. Sorry, people that are going to freak out that I said 15. Look at people. There's too many good ones. That's just how it goes. But anyway, so the face of the NBA, and I actually like had a question to pose to you, Logan, because I've seen a lot of people like angry about the names that are being thrown around are like Giannis, Shea, Ant, Jason Tatum, but like Jokic is not included on these lists or in the graphics that ESPN and Fox make as often as Denver people would like.
Which does seem a little weird that they reached for like Shea before Jokic. Could you imagine Shea being the face of the NBA more than Jokic?
Okay, so I think that being the face of the NBA has like a couple of like pieces to it. Okay. One of the biggest one for like the NBA to acknowledge that you're just, no matter what's going on, you're going to be the guy that we push forward, is you can't be like, Miles Bridges will never be in consideration for the face of the NBA. Draymond Green would never be in consideration. You have to be, I don't know, it's like not a hoodlum all the time.
You have to have a clean image.
A clean image. That's a better way to put it. A clean image. The second thing, you got to be at the upper echelon of basketball.
Yeah.
So far, Jokic is totally clean. The third thing, which is where I think Jokic is like the lowest out of the three categories in my brain, is the like, I don't want to say marketability, but that's like the best, the outward like personality to be this marketable guy that like wants to. And we've like gone rounds talking about Jokic and like he doesn't not like basketball like very clearly.
Yeah.
That's like an overblown thing. But I still think that like the way that people perceive Jokic outside of just basketball, but like as a person and as a personality is way less. It's like closer to how people view a regular guy than how they view LeBron.
Yeah.
Like they don't look at him with the same, which I feel like the face of the league has to have that like almost gravitational, like everyone either hates you or loves you and wants to know what's going on. People can't be indifferent about you.
Yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense.
And I feel like Jokic...
But I feel like SGA is the pinnacle of that. Like, even more than Jokic. Because Jokic at least is, like, goofy. And, like...
Yeah.
Like, he's lovable in a certain, like, charming way because of that. Like,
yeah.
SGA just... Like, you barely ever even hear him say things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's very mysterious
Luka.
and he keeps everything really low-key. He does not do, like, many interviews. He dresses really cool. And he does some ads where he doesn't say anything and he's just kind of there and things like that. But he doesn't really have a voice, you know?
That's totally fair. Like, I get that one. I think it is like, it's Luka, I think is the clear, like in your brain front runner because
More
he has
Giannis?
the clean.
Luka, I think, has it for more of like, his best years are yet to come, I still think. Giannis, I don't know.
And we might have seen the best version of Giannis already.
Yeah, we might have.
That 2020, 2021 might have been peak Giannis. Mm-hmm. And that was a crazy peak. Not disparaging the man at all.
Yeah.
That was an insane peak.
And he's still at his peak right now, but I don't know if if anything.
If he's going to kick it up another level to be like a Pantheon power forward center combo, which is kind of a congested spot to be as it is.
Yeah.
In terms of being
I think he's already on that trajectory, but it depends on how big your Pantheon is, you know? How many people you're including.
I'm more of a Mount Rushmore Pantheon guy.
Oh, okay.
A four-face.
4 for all, like both of the power forward and center positions combined?
No, like a 4 for power forward and 4 for center. Like each
feel
position
like
gets a Mount Rushmore.
He's probably... He'll probably end up in the top 4 for the power forwards, though, I'd say.
That's totally... Yeah, that's totally fair.
I would probably put Giannis over Karl Malone. And a lot of people put Karl Malone too. I don't agree with that, but
Duncan, KG are they are not movable at this time. There needs to be a lot more things that happen to move those guys.
I understand some people not putting KG at 2, but I personally put 2. I put KG at 2. But
also, if you haven't been listening very long, I very rarely can if I have any emotional connection, I struggle to be very subjective and strictly factual. So the KG, anything is possible. I won't put him over Duncan, but if it's it's close, I'm always going to lean the KG or just the Boston guy route, almost always.
Yeah.
I try to be self-aware of it, but yeah, that's just how it is. That's the way that this is going to go. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to budge.
But I'd say probably my Mount Rushmore right now, Karl Malone is probably... Okay, so the 5 names right now without Giannis is Duncan, KG, Barkley, Dirk, and Karl Malone. So,
and I think that the Barkley one is hard for me because obviously he didn't get the ring, but
he very well could have though.
As close as if he played in any other era of basketball, in terms of didn't have the Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon roadblocks to get through. Mm-hmm. You feel like he would have.
Yeah.
If Charles Barkley was a late to mid 2000s star, whoever he's playing for is winning a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It feels like that at least.
Yeah, and how he was able to do it without there was moments of his career that was all the things outside of his control did not help him to win a championship, and he almost still won one despite those things not aligning for him.
It was despite.
Yeah.
It was everything is going wrong in the front office, the GM.
Exactly.
But we've got Charles Barkley, and he just kind of kept on trucking.
Yep.
He deserved to be one of the Monstars in the first Space Jam. Mm-hmm. He deserved it.
For sure.
That's the real staple of what makes you one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
Were you chosen to be one of the Space Jam guys? So Detlef Shrimp is also goated.
Yeah. Or was that Detlef Shrimp? I thought it was what's it? Well, man, now I'm forgetting his name.
Sean Bradley?
Yeah, Sean Bradley.
It's Sean Bradley for sure. Mm-hmm. I apologize. I saw a fade, white guy flat top, tall, lanky white.
Yeah.
And I kind of fuzzed some lines. So
Yeah.
I apologize.
This guy's even extra taller, which I think I believe. Did he pass away?
Sean Bradley?
Yeah. Wasn't he the one that got in a bike accident?
He did not pass away.
But he was in critical care or something at one point.
Yeah, he is. He is still alive, but it does look like he was in a rather serious accident.
Yeah. Well, that's good that he was able to pull through. But yeah. Anyways, on to the rest of what we're talking about. I mean, the face of the NBA thing, like Jokic, I understand the things holding him back from being like the unequivocal, like, face of the league. I think Luka is probably higher in that. Like, Luka is more similar to LeBron for sure than like Jokic, even Giannis, I would say. Like, people that have problems with Luka have like similar problems that people have with LeBron. In the same vein. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but I also don't know if we're going to have a true face of the NBA or if it'll be like a committee for a while.
Yeah.
Because like, we're not just going to stumble into another guy where even people that don't watch basketball, you say their name and people have an immediate visceral reaction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Positive or negative, they immediately have a reaction.
Yeah. Which to me, I'm not sure if like, do we need the face of the NBA to do that? Because I feel like most of the reactions that people get has to do with either politics or the GOAT conversation, and people just being like, no, like, I don't watch basketball, but I know, like, I sure as hell know LeBron ain't the GOAT, like that's basically their whole basketball viewpoint. So like that thing gets people riled up. So I mean, if somebody gets good enough to like enter themselves into that conversation enough, then people, will care about it like that. So like, maybe we see that happen with Wembanyama. Who knows? Obviously,
Tatum.
that would be the ceiling of those guys.
No, I'm serious. Jason Tatum gets disrespected constantly.
You would say that you think Jason Tatum has a realistic chance of being in the GOAT conversation?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. The man's only 25.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
In today's era of basketball, if he plays let's say he plays to 38, Jason Tatum doing what Jason Tatum is doing right now, obviously would need to win championships. That's a no-duh.
Mm-hmm.
But being the best guy on a team that constantly makes the Eastern Conference Finals or Finals, and you are definitively, without a doubt, the guy.
Yeah.
If he does that until he's 38, not saying that that's a guaranteed, I think Jason Tatum's closer than like people will ever consider him to be.
Maybe, yeah.
At this point in time, obviously there's no rings to match it, so you can't like, I'm throwing nothing at a wall, but like, he was a rookie. The best player on the team got hurt and he had to step up, and they pushed the LeBron Cavs to Game 7.
Yeah.
It was almost a Celtics as a rookie.
3-2. Yeah.
Like, it was almost there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've constantly got, the only down year that they've had was the year that he got injured the most, and that was the 2021? I'm on the wrong side of COVID, I think. I think it was 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time that there's ever been any, like, super low. Obviously, he's not there yet.
And that was only time we've seen James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving all play together on the same team in a playoff series. Was that playoff series?
That one series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Obviously, I know that I'm being like a little over the top because it's like the Boston thing, as I alluded to earlier. But Jason Tatum, I think, has as much of a say to be in at least the face of the league conversation as anybody else does. Anybody else does.
I could see that for sure. Face of the league.
A perennial top
because
five-ish,
being American helps a lot, I think.
Being a top 5-ish MVP candidate almost every year.
Yeah.
Not every, like, obviously there was a couple years of growing pains, but at least the past 4 or 5, it's like at one point during the season, he was in the MVP race, a legitimate contender.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly being that good in a big market like Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that I feel like he's been disrespected slightly. That's been boiling up for a long time. That like one thing obviously was not what, but I just feel like the Jason Tatum, like, everyone's like, well, he should have already done something then. He already should have won championship. He's 25.
Yeah, And Jordan never won until he was 27, 28. LeBron.
Also, I get like Tatum's also never been on atrocious teams. He's never been like the weight he's pulling isn't dead weight. I get that also. Yeah. No, it's way better than dead weight. But I also feel like LeBron didn't start to win things until he had also not dead weight. It was way later into LeBron's career when he pulled a middle of the road Cavs team to the finals. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't. 2007
to win the finals. Not to get to the finals, to win the finals. Sorry.
Yeah, 2016 Cavs, though, were still pretty good, I'd say. I don't think LeBron's dragged a nothing, like, dead weight to win the whole thing. I don't think that's happened, honestly. 2016, because that was Kyrie and Kevin Love. They were both healthy that year. You know,
good, and yeah. And a lot of people think that, now I'm not saying that. Some people think that Kyrie's actually the one that won him that series, so I'm just kidding.
I mean,
some people do actually believe that Kyrie's the only reason they beat Golden State in 16.
Well, LeBron if Kyrie wasn't, LeBron had the majority to do with it.
Just because he wasn't the one that made like the shots that get clipped permanently forever.
The last shot of Game 7.
That shot, yeah.
Yeah, but he made the block, the chase down block.
On Iguodala.
Mm-hmm. Which some people still think should have been a goaltend because his hand did touch the rim. But that would have been a wild call if that would have happened.
Also,
it was his other hand.
In big moments like that, everyone needs to realize that sometimes weird little finicky parts of rules go out the window. The Chiefs technically had an illegal man downfield this year in the Super Bowl because the center, Creed Humphreys, was 1 yard past the line of scrimmage, and it was a pass play.
Yeah.
Or 1 yard past the 2 yard bubble they give him or whatever it was. It's to win the Super Bowl. No, it's little weird intricacies like that don't get called when it's that. Hail Marys in football, never anything. It's just how it is. The push off from Jordan. I didn't get called.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how to call that one, but I think that was, I honestly don't think that would be called most times.
Most of the times.
Personally.
Regular season
it's hard to tell.
Charlotte on a Tuesday.
It's very hard to tell how much. It's kind of impossible to tell, honestly, how much that was the player's momentum,
and how much
it was Jordan pushing off.
Assisted momentum.
Yeah.
But so I did not mean to derail our little talk about the face of the league by my Jason Tatum doesn't deserve more respect, but I'm kind of irritated about the almost a.
I think he's above Shea. Jokic. I put Tatum above Shea for sure.
He's just not a new, fancy, fun, hot commodity. And so people are like, whatever. But I'm like, no, he's still crazy young.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the start of his peak, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And he's been kind of a dude before it started, air quotes.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I think Tatum is definitely higher than a lot of, I mean, there's some people on our TikTok comments, or one guy specifically that's had a repeated opinion that he's given about how Tatum's not even top 50 in the league right now.
He's just trying to farm me for engagement. I'm not going to acknowledge you, guy. Derek White. The Celtics have 5 players in the top 50 in the NBA. That's not crazy. For that. That's facts. Factual facts.
I don't know if I would say facts, but it is definitely very... You could make that... you could say that and it's not crazy to say at all.
I think there's 4 in the top 30.
4 in the top 30? Who's the 4th one in the top 30?
Drew Holiday.
I mean, last year I would probably say yes, or 2 years ago. I don't know.
I don't punish a man for taking a lesser role.
Yeah, but he does
his role insanely well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. I haven't watched enough Drew Holiday to really have my finger on the pulse of that one.
I've watched almost all of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so face of the NBA, I guess, is still up in the air. You know, we haven't figured it out and solved it for everybody here today. But
also, would you like to make a wager here on Hoop Theory?
Sure.
LeBron says that he is 50-50 whether or not he'll have a farewell tour season.
Did he say 50-50? I saw the
He said a 50-50.
Okay, yeah.
I'm willing to put almost my life savings on what 50% that's going to land on.
Yeah. I agree.
He's going to have a farewell tour.
I believe what he's saying in terms of like he's had that thought before, but I never in a million years feel like if it came down to it and he had to flip a coin for it, and it landed on that he had to do no farewell tour, like he would not be
if he knows that this is his last ride ahead of the season.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think the only way that we don't get one is if he like gets hurt and he's like, I don't know, I don't want to like battle back through this. I was going to be done next year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only world where I feel like we don't get at least at the minimum, like, at the All-Star break, his team's not going to make the playoffs, and he's like, shower me with gifts, because I'm leaving.
Yeah. So, but I doubt it's just, like, at the end of the season, like this past one, where he said something about, like, that's not going to happen that way. I highly doubt that. That would be so out of nowhere for LeBron.
Character.
Yeah.
Just out of character. It would not make sense.
Uh-huh.
Especially with last year, like there's always been this talk he's going to try and play with Bronny. Like that's always been a thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron doesn't try to stick around and play with Bryce.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
Just 3 more seasons. It's not that big of a I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think the damage that an NBA season puts on a human being's body is often undersold, but
yeah, for sure. But I guess moving on to the next thing that we have today. That is something that Jacob actually wanted to talk about when we were prepping for this episode, and that was you said that it was content that it was obligatory. Everybody has to talk about it.
People were farming content for this.
Yeah, and so that's the Caitlin Clark, the new WNBA, not WNBA, women's NCAA scoring record of career points that she passed Kelsey Plum recently. By scoring 54 too, didn't she score 54 in that game?
Well, she only needed 8 that night.
Yeah,
and then had 50 something during the game.
Yeah, and the shot that the actual shot she made to pass,
poetic.
Yeah, it was like a half court
on the beak of the Hawkeye. Just let it fly.
Yeah, so it was like a logo 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, her shots are just ridiculous, honestly. But I guess what direction did you want to go with this? Did you want to bring up any controversies of things people have talked about?
First off, I think it is obnoxious for Jay Williams to say, I'm not ready to call her great yet.
Yeah, I agree.
There'd be a difference if he were to say, I'm not willing to call her an all-time great yet, or one of the greatest yet.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, I'd kind of have a problem with that. And he said because she hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
You know what she did do? Score more points than anyone else.
Yeah.
That is a measurable metric.
And there's not like an exception to that, like she's played an extra year or anything. Like I've seen that there was this one person that was on the show with Gilbert Arenas, handshake to you, sir, for like literally every single terrible take that I see, like every single like clip of somebody saying something that's just like not true and that's getting a lot of engagement, it's always your show. Why? Like, just stop it. Somebody needs to fact check things or something. You know what I mean? Like, don't just put out just lies into the world all the time.
Yeah, no, everybody gets confused because she was a college student during the COVID year, but has not used her COVID year of eligibility.
Yeah, she would be able to next year.
She will not. I would actually with NIL.
It doesn't matter if she does. She already beat the record before.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
In the same time frame that other people had, she beat the record.
Less games than Kelsey Plum set the record. So, but she was saying how it's like, to me, for it to count as the record, you have to do it in 4 years. It's like, okay, she is in her 4th year right now. Also, she's played less games. So, you have a 0 point here.
And also, I think that, and then immediately the second she broke the record, everyone started talking about her like she was the greatest player in the WNBA right now. They skipped the March Madness. They skipped everything and were like, when she's in the WNBA, she's going to be the best player on the court. I'm like, I don't think that people understand that there's people that can shoot like Caitlin Clark in the WNBA that also are bigger than her and play very good defense. Caitlin Clark is maybe 6 foot, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Why the WNBA is not the same as the NBA? 6 foot in the WNBA is still like being a 6'3", 6'4" guy in the NBA. You're not insanely tall. You're your height will be something you have to combat.
You're a big guard, probably. I would say
6 foot's like a big guard. Yeah,
I would guess.
So 6'4", 6'5".
Oh yeah. For like the equivalent.
As like to
think
equivalence it over to the NBA.
I'm not sure exactly, but I would guess something like that.
Just rough ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think that like we also had somebody comment us on TikTok that Caitlin Clark could beat anybody in the NBA in a game to 11, shooting ones and twos.
Not anybody, but some NBA players, I think.
Some NBA players.
Yeah.
By shooting ones and twos. And I'm like, in like a shooting drill, the same way that I was not like worried, like I thought that Sabrina Ionescu would be close. If it was just shooting, like a shooting drill, yeah, for sure. She would knock down shots with the best of them. With Curry, probably even.
Mm-hmm.
But in a one-on-one where there's like defense being played and rebounds if you miss.
With an NBA athlete.
With an NBA level athlete, even if you were to try to cherry pick the shortest, slowest, short guy that exists, but guess what? They're not in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. They don't exist.
If you're short, you're insanely fast or insanely athletic.
Yeah.
So there's like
you have something it's superhuman that's making you an NBA player.
Like I saw somebody said that in a full court one-on-one game, they thought that Caitlin Clark would beat Rudy Gobert 11-0 or 21-0.
Is it like make it, take it, and she starts with the ball? Maybe it
was full court, so I assume it has to be make it. But I think their point was like she could run circles around Rudy Gobert, and I'm like, Rudy Gobert doesn't got to run that far when he can just reach the 3-point line from the paint.
That's just not true. Rudy Gobert he can stay with guys on the perimeter better than, like, just throwing this out there as a handshake to Rudy Gobert. This is probably has been his best season defending on the perimeter. And he's never been a stiff. Like, people just clip moments of him getting crossed up by Stephen Curry and Chris Paul, two of the greatest point guards in NBA history. It's like, oh, wow.
At doing that expressive, like,
yeah.
Who else is above? Kyrie Irving is the only person that's like
above that,
harder to guard, like in a one-on-one scenario.
And
yeah,
it's just a 7'1", no duh, 7'1" center, like rim protector, is gonna get lost trying to guard somebody like that. But he stays with NBA guards pretty well. So I don't think Caitlin Clark, I'm not trying to disrespect, like skill wise, definitely on par with a lot of things that NBA players are doing. But like there's only so much like a physically normal person or like, ordinary person can do against like the superhumans that are in the NBA.
Imagine the best basketball player on your high school team.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the best basketball player in high school was like Harrison Barnes or something. I know a guy that the best, like he went to the same high school as Harrison Barnes.
Oh, wow.
And Doug McDermott, actually, because they were at Iowa State and Ames.
Wow. They went to the same high school? I didn't even know that.
That's how I understood the story he was telling. Anyway, unless you have like that level of, the best player on your high school team would get absolutely washed by probably Caitlin Clark. Honestly, as how crazy of like skill wise some of the upper echelon WNBA players or high level college basketball, like it's the gap between us. Actually, I'm gonna quote the man himself, the White Mamba, Brian Scalabrine. The gap between me and you is further than me and LeBron.
Yeah.
Just replace Brian Scalabrine with like the average high school basketball player. I'm actually messing up this analogy.
Yeah, replace Brian Scalabrine with Caitlin Clark, I think is what you mean. And
then you as the best high school basketball player you know.
Yeah, I would say it's probably Caitlin Clark's probably closer to that guy than LeBron.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I'm being a bit facetious.
But no, there's still definitely a gap there. I feel like I don't think it's crazy, hearing the story this weekend, All-Star weekend, for those of you who don't know when we're recording this, when Sabrina Ionescu, I told you the wrong pronunciation when you asked me before.
It's Ionescu?
Yeah, Ionescu. But I always, when I read it, I just see Ionescu. Yeah, Ionescu. But she apparently wanted to play on the boys' team back when she was like in middle school or something like that, because like she was...
To feel something.
Yeah, she was a lot better than all the girls that she was playing with. And something that like that, I feel like that definitely was... I don't think that was like unrealistic, especially in middle school, like where, girls they advance physically faster than the boys do, development-wise. I feel like that definitely could have been something that was realistic. But there's some people out there that just, think it's like, no matter what, they're always like a tier below or whatever, And that's just not true to be honest. But yeah, this Caitlin Clark thing though, it's pretty wild. I haven't watched like too much of it myself, but seeing the clips and seeing like the highlights of it is very fun to watch. Just the aesthetic of like all of her half court shots, the way they go in a lot of the time is just like very pleasing, you know?
Just, it's always just this crisp, you feel like it makes that that noise.
Yeah, it just
every
drops
time.
in. It's like that's where it was meant to be, you know? It's where the ball was meant to be. But yeah, I guess, was there anything else on the Caitlin Clark thing besides the Jay Williams and whatever the other girl's name was?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like that's basketball. And I just think it's crazy that people like, it's not that hard to like look at what's happening on the court and then like properly place like competition. If someone's doing crazy things, the fact that they're not playing as high level of competition does not diminish that. As much as people do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I think Caitlin Clark will probably be really good in the WNBA as soon as she gets there. I don't know if she'll be like the best player. I guess I don't even know who's considered the best player in the world right now. Even
probably like there's like a UConn multi-headed horse of a lot of people that not all went to UConn, but it was like
Brianna
Plum's
Stewart.
up there, Brianna Stewart's up there, Ionescu. Ionescu's up there. I think it's kind of a top of the mountain type of thing.
Yeah. Is Asia Wilson that good?
Yes. Also.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Plum's on the kind of the top of the hill because she's the best player on the back-to-back champs. So that would kind of probably put you in that conversation.
Yeah. Makes sense. But it is cool to see though that I feel like the women's basketball and like the audience for it is growing like a lot. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I think that's kind of all chick sports in general.
All chick sports in general.
I guess I could have worded that better. I feel like that's kind of all women's sports or girl sports, whatever way you want to look at it in general.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a rising tide.
Like volleyball?
No, like volleyball, I think is getting bigger. I think like there's like a professional volleyball league now.
There's two, actually, apparently. They're both
I just know in the
US.
Are they like competing?
Not like they're going to be two different leagues. I don't know if they're ever going to cross over at all, but there's going to be two teams in Omaha. Two professional volleyball teams in Omaha.
They just need to merge. Just become one league.
Yeah,
Don't do this. Don't divide it. That's dumb.
That seems like a way to set it up to fail, honestly. But the one of them, the Supernova, Omaha Supernova, Jason Derulo is a part owner.
Yep.
Which I just think is just random and funny. But yeah, no, but I guess me being kind of tied up in the basketball world only, just seeing all the posts from like WNBA and women's basketball stuff where like in the past, every time if there was ever a post on our feeds about women's basketball, you like guarantee open up the comments, all of them are going to be like, you know, negative, making fun of it, you know, that type of stuff. That still exists for sure and still is very prevalent. But I feel like this is really the first season that I've noticed like repeatedly. Every time I open those comments for the most part, there's like a lot of people that are actually, they know what they're talking about and are interested in women's basketball, you know, and they're talking about it like that. And like, it's like real discussion and real interest. And then there's some people that take it way too far, honestly. There's the people that I feel like because of the animosity coming from the men's basketball fans that are like, you know, always crap on the women's stuff. They feel the need to like overcompensate and go, you know, directly back the other way with the same energy that are like, this is why the WNBA is just so many levels above the NBA now with the amount of skill and fundamentals. And, you know, it's just like, okay, I agree that it should like there's real entertainment and real like basketball to be had there. And like, I definitely see that, but let's chill out with that. Like with the saying that it's not even close with the NBA.
You could make a roster of the worst players in the NBA
and win a WNBA championship. That's not sexist. Easily. It's not sexist to say that. I'm sorry.
Basic logic.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like there's nuance to be had with like I get mad at people all the time. Like I was a very staunch defender of the people in comments for some reason this whole time, and still I've been seeing people getting mad about her Sabrina Ionescu using the WNBA ball in the 3-point competition she had against Steph, and I'm like, why do you care? I still do not understand. Yes, it is a smaller ball going into the same size of hoop. So like scientifically, it's a little bit easier. But you know what is also true? If Steph uses a WNBA ball, he's not doing better. He's doing worse than if he uses the NBA ball. So shut up. You know what I mean? Just like leave it alone.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Also, I am not as familiar with, because like WNBA, I'm not pretending like I watch the WNBA. I don't. I have a bare minimum level. Like everybody in the comment sections that say they watch basketball and then very clearly don't. That's how I am with the WNBA. So Joe Wilson is also on the Aces.
Who?
As well as Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey Plum, Candace Parker, all three of them are on the Las Vegas Aces.
Oh, and that's the team that's won back-to-back? Oh,
yep.
Yeah, for sure. I knew that. For some reason, I was getting confused with them. Is there only one New York team, the Liberty?
I think.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking there was another one, but yeah, it makes sense.
I know the Connecticut Sun, the Dallas Wings.
Connecticut Sun is a team? That doesn't even make sense.
I'm pretty sure it's the Connecticut Sun.
That's like such a
random...
random...
Chicago Sky.
Yeah, for sure.
The
LA
Sparks are LA's.
Mm-hmm. Phoenix Mercury, I believe.
Yep.
The Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah.
We don't need to name all the teams, but yeah, I definitely am a advocate, I guess I would say. Like I'm excited, and I think it's good. It's a good thing. Like the advancement that we're seeing in women's sports and the growth that we're seeing in that. It's awesome, honestly. But this kind of ties into the Sabrina thing that we kind of started going into, the Steph versus Sabrina Ionescu 3-point shootout, where Sabrina actually made 26 out of a possible 40 points, which would have tied the highest in the men's event that night, where Dame took home the trophy in the final round by scoring 26. And then Steph immediately went out and scored 29, which was 2 off of his record. His record is 31. Sabrina has the record, which if nobody's seen that video, you need to watch it. Because somebody commented on one of our videos of us talking about the Sabrina thing before the event happened. The one on Instagram, somebody commented on it and said, Steph will destroy her or something like that. Sabrina's never played, or she's never played in front of more than 10 people or something like that.
Okay, also, you know who no one watches the all-star people that are at that game are like celebrity people. And then also, anybody look at the ratings for the All-Star game? 5 million people for the weekend. That was the average viewership. That's terrible.
Per like event, or what? Like how does
for the average viewership across the weekend? 5 million people.
Okay,
that's
very low. Yeah,
terrible
for All-Star. Yeah. So what is your point? What are you saying?
She's definitely played in front of more. Obviously, 10 was the crowds aren't like packed NBA arenas.
Oh,
but she's like,
well, yeah. I mean, she's definitely played in front of a lot of people, and like my whole point in saying this is, like, go watch the video of her having a 37-point 3-point contest, like that. She did that in an arena full of people, like more than 10 people, for sure.
Exact same format, so 3 points shy of a perfect 3-point contest.
Yeah, and she was shooting from the WNBA line, obviously, but again, nothing wrong with that. Also, the line, like the numbers we said back in the original video we were doing, I found the wrong numbers. They were old. Apparently, the WNBA line is the same as the new men's college line, and
yeah, that's what
FIBA.
We said in the video.
No, we didn't. I put up a graphic that said that in post editing.
Oh,
but originally the number we were saying for the women's for WNBA was 20'6". It's actually 22 feet 1 inch and 1 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah, we talked about that like extensively.
We never said that was the WNBA line. We said that was the NCAA. That was the college men's line in the video.
Oh, now I'm tracking. Okay. Yeah.
We said it was the men's line, but we were giving a different number for the WNBA, which in actuality those are the same. It's actually line. Yeah, 22.5 or that number. That's hard to say. And that's also where the FIBA line is. So where we saw all those NBA players playing this summer, same line that it's like, my whole point is it's not like a different world of a distance. It's like it's not that huge of a gap. And this kind of brings up the whole Kenny Smith thing that I feel like we had a good conversation about yesterday, but I think we should probably touch on that here as well, because I don't know. I like to talk about things I guess that are like, if I have thoughts on them that I feel like are not popular or like that are original to me more so, then I like to discuss them. But like I definitely understand people. Like I watched the Rich Eisen show, his clip of him talking about the Kenny Smith thing after our conversation yesterday. And I definitely see like the points of like how Kenny Smith was kind of missing the point or like ruining the moment in a sense.
And then doing the Kenny Smith thing of not shutting up.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just Kenny Smith being Kenny Smith. But
that's
sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, but that's my whole point though too, is like the thing that people were annoyed about, that I've seen people saying that they're annoyed about, is like how he wouldn't stop on it. And I was like, but that's just how Kenny Smith is all the time. That's my main problem with Kenny Smith on All-Star Game or All-Star Saturday night calls. I've never liked those broadcasts, never enjoyed them, because I don't know why they keep giving it to Kenny Smith. I don't know who it appeals to, but like him every single dunk contest, like repeating, "It's over, it's over," or like just different lines here and there that he just will say over and over. It's like, that's not, at a certain point, it's like it stops becoming commentary. You know what I mean? And it's just like being a weirdo. It's like, just calm down. Please stop saying the same words over and over. But yeah, so he was kind of doing that with the WNBA line thing, saying that she should shoot from there. But the thing I will defend Kenny Smith on is, I don't think that the angle he was approaching it from was like the way that a lot of people seem to be reacting to it, which like a lot of people I've seen say, like what they think he was saying was like, he was it was demeaning, and he was putting a limit on women and saying like, you guys need to stay in your box and shoot from where you want to shoot, or shoot from where you need to shoot from, type of thing.
As opposed to where you want to shoot from.
Yeah. When in actuality, I don't think he was saying like, you, Sabrina, you're not allowed to shoot from there if you want to. You know, it's just more like, I think he thought he was defending her, you know, by saying like, in actuality,
this is not her comfort zone.
Yeah.
This isn't her comfort zone.
This isn't like this isn't really truly showing in a vacuum who's the better shooter just by going from the same distance, because Sabrina does not shoot from that distance normally. It's like if Steph played in FIBA, like he never played at the NBA, was always playing in FIBA on FIBA rules from the FIBA line, he would not be good as the current Steph is at shooting from the NBA line. It's just facts. You know?
Because you don't have reps at that distance.
Exactly. So it doesn't make him a worse shooter. It just makes him like he's more tuned in from a different distance. I think that's all the point that Kenny Smith, I feel like, was trying to make. You know?
And I just think it's because it's Kenny Smith, it didn't come off like that at all.
Yeah.
Because if he would have said that, and then like maybe like after Reggie Miller made like the big like, not to do about it, but like said, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Clarified and then been done.
Yeah. I
think it would have been fine. But it didn't stop until like the start of the dunk contest, and then like kept going on into the dunk contest.
Yeah. And
it just didn't stop.
One of the lines that a lot of people freaked out about, and I also am like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have said that, was the golf tee comment about how there's women's golf tees and there's men's golf tees for a reason. It was like, okay, what are you insinuating with that? I think all he's trying to say is like that's, you shoot from where you shoot from because that's where you shoot from, and that's where it shows like how good of a shooter you are, you know, because that's what you do. Not necessarily because like it's shorter. You know?
I was just more like, I can't stand when Kenny Smith is not just at the desk where like, he's fine when he's with Ernie Johnson and Charles. Like, he's great there,
mm-hmm.
but because he gets like cut off.
Yeah.
When he is just given a mic and it's not turned off ever, it just is a lot.
Yeah, it is. I agree. That could help fix the All-Star game or All-Star weekend. I've just seen all these people going off about how to fix it, and that could be an improvement, honestly, in my book. But I think that's a good segue to actually go to that is like, I guess, All-Star weekend overall, what improvements can be made? Because I know you had some thoughts. I don't know if we really got into them, but I heard at least a tad bit of like your reaction to the game and the weekend as a whole. I guess was it like a disappointment or a letdown to you?
No, it's exactly what I expect it to be, but it's like a letdown. Like 12-year-old me would be heartbroken. Like that's this thing that and that's also probably just the fact that I'm not 12 anymore.
Yeah.
I think the thing that got me the most is like, obviously I'm not in the camp. Like some people were like, the hardest game that these All-Stars should play should be the All-Star game. That shouldn't be where they put forth the most. Like some people are in that camp where they have to have.
Somebody said that?
No, not verbatim, but like people want it to be that more intense, high intensity, like take the game extraordinarily seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not in that camp like some people are. But I'm also opposed to the like Dame just saying, F it, I'm going to shoot from here for no reason. And like, and then getting rewarded for that instead of Halliburton or like someone else that had a equally as fun and flashy, did some cool, fun, flashy things like what the All-Star game has kind of turned into is how can you be flashy and fun?
Yeah.
Like Maxey threw the behind the elbow, and if Dame runs instead of going to the three-point line, Halliburton. I messed up the Tyrese's.
Yeah.
If Halliburton did I say Halliburton for who should have won MVP too?
Yeah.
Or
you said Halliburton the first time, and then you said Maxey for the elbow pass.
Like Halliburton did like the elbow pass, and like if Dame doesn't decide, oh, I'm only gonna take the threes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not only, but I think he took like of his 20-something shots.
He had 23
16
3-point attempts of his 26 attempts.
If he just runs the lane, that makes that Halliburton clip even more legendary.
Yeah, which to be fair, like a modern running the break that for a guard, like in a normal game, that is where Dame would go, is to the corner for sure. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just that elbow pass is made for a different era or different time for when you have two guys running the lane like beside each other almost, which doesn't really happen that much anymore. But it's really hard to try to get an elbow pass to go from the middle of the key,
20-something foot.
Yeah, all the way like as a crisp pass all the way to somebody in the corner. That would be wild.
And I just feel like everything like in the game was just kind of like, it felt like it was dudes like before a practice just kind of shooting around, and they happened to be. That wasn't the whole game, but there was just a lot of stretches that felt like it was just this whatever, who cares? But then there was moments where like the fun parts of it, like Jokic and Luka running the fast break without dribbling, that was fun.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah,
that was fun. Just them throwing it back and forth,
and the reason
like that stuff I liked. But like then there was just, and I don't want to just harp on Dame because a lot of guys did it, but just like the randomly pulling up with like no fun, flashy anything, just like, I'm going to throw this up from half court because I can.
Yeah.
And that's cool sometimes, but I don't know.
I might be in the minority. You wish that no, you're definitely not in the minority. That's for sure.
In terms of where I sit on it, I don't think most people are either like, oh, it's perfect, not perfect, but, oh, I like how it's just this whatever. I just want it to be like, probably lean where they're having more fun than like serious, but just like, I just don't want it to be like a joke.
Yeah. I don't know did you see anything about how the Adam Silver, how he was like just deflated when he handed out the trophy at the end? Like the way
my favorite was
the way that he said it was like, he was like, you guys, your team scored more points, so congratulations. Here's your trophy.
Yeah. Also, the other thing that kind of, I was already anticipating not liking the game because Larry Bird pleaded them to take the game seriously that morning. And
really? Like, to their faces?
Was no, like into a bit. I don't know if the guys were sitting in front of a microphone giving a big speech, was like, yeah, like essentially take this game seriously. Like, it was a big deal for us. It's a big deal for you guys too, but it just seems like it's he didn't say it was under it, but he's like, people don't look at it the same as they used to.
Yeah.
Take this game seriously, write that, and then deaf ears it fell on. It didn't. But also,
it's not everybody's fault because it's hard to like be one guy out there trying to set the tone.
Jaylen Brown tried to do it.
Yeah, there were some people.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum didn't touch the All-Star Game trophy. They just looked at it. We're winning it all. They're locked in. They don't want any trophy that isn't the Larry O'Brien.
Okay. I was trying to figure out where you're going to, like, what angle you're going to spin that at. But I think that there's like some players out there that were kind of wanting to try to set the tone or trying to, like, Karl Anthony Towns definitely was going hard for sure. But like, it's just,
is that the quietest 50 points for everyone listening that barely watched it? Did you know that Karl Anthony Towns had 50 points? Because I feel like that was the most buried everything ever.
Yeah.
No one talked about a 50 burger.
Yeah, he played
even
a lot.
In a game like that, 50 is impressive.
Yeah.
But no one cared.
He shot a lot though. Like a lot. I think he took like 40 shots.
Yeah, it was
in an all-star game. Like, that's insane.
We're supposed to. Yeah.
But I mean, this was the first time an all-star game has got to 200 points by a single team, which is kind of cool. But it's also like, I don't know why did they get rid of the Elam ending? I don't understand. And I've heard people say that they liked that they got rid of it. Why? Why did you? That was like that. The Elam ending made it so, like, even though there was a full game of like nothing going on, at least the end, there was like some competitive, like, you know, something.
Yeah.
Because you're never out of it. You still have a chance.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we got rid of that and it got like just garbage time at the end, but
the whole game kind of felt like garbage time.
Exactly.
I think, and you brought this up, make King of the Court.
Yeah.
Where guys make teams of threes or something.
Oh, yeah. I think we should expand the all-star teams in general. We could still do 5-on-5 and just do like, you know, 15 on each side from the conferences. You split that up into 4. Well, I guess you would have to go 16. Well, when we add a new team, we just go 16 or new teams per one per conference. 16 players. So that way it's an even number. So 4 teams of 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good because then that way you have a solid rotation of like people
and
playing a good
pretty much the same format that the Rising Stars game has turned into.
Yep.
But I also think that would be cool because then, like, I like the King of the Court thing where guys aren't stuck on teams because then we could bring back guys wearing their team's jersey as opposed to an in general All-Star game jersey. So like you'd have like a home and away. And then you'd like throw on obviously whichever one you're supposed to be wearing. So then it kind of feel like NBA Blacktop, which would be cool.
Yeah.
And then that I just think that then you could get like, let's say that like AD, Kawhi, and Steph make a little team. Then you're like, okay, we're just gonna build something to try to beat that out of the remaining guys, and it just turns into like watching guys have fun playing basketball for 2 hours. Or an hour and a half.
Wait, how does this work? You're building teams while you're going? Or how?
No, you'd have like a team of, or you do 5, whatever. You have a team of 5 playing. And then if they get to 21 first, they just stay. Like you turn it into like.
Oh, you're doing. Okay. I thought we were doing like the Rising Stars like tournament thing.
Or you could do the tournament thing. That would either. I just think that it would be. I like the idea of the like King of the Court where they stay and then like.
Okay.
The rest of the All-Stars try to make...
So it's not really even a game, but it's like a...
It's just an event. It's just a thing. Mm-hmm. Or, my other pivot is just go the route of the MLB. Winner of the All-Star game gets home court advantage.
Yeah. Okay. That's definitely a big key point that we're going to dive into here. But before we get into that, you brought up the jersey thing. I am a huge fan of the players wear their team jerseys. Like, I think that in most years is like, that's the way to go. But I do want to like give credit to. I think these might be my favorite All-Star jerseys ever.
Crisp.
I'm not even kidding. They were so good.
I was about these. These were good. Though these were, like
I love the subtle pinstripes.
Yeah, like when we get to 5,000 followers on TikTok, if someone wants an All-Star jersey, I will also get one when they get one.
Yeah.
Like I will also be getting a Jason Tatum. All-Star jersey.
2024 All-Star jersey.
Yeah, like guaranteed. And I think I would just like the team color thing because like in football, like when they used to do like the full padded Pro Bowl, they would wear their team's helmet. So there was like
at least
they all had the same jersey on, but they had the same helmet. And then
they didn't have the same helmet.
They They didn't have the same helmet. They had their team's helmet on.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like in the NBA, the whites on the color, I just think that was a peak all-star. I just think that was cool. But
I agree.
That is a great shout out to whoever we've been dogging on Nike and Jordan, who's ever been making jerseys because of the City Edition just being kind of
terrible,
pumping them out.
Yeah.
And some of them being rough. A lot of them have grown on me, but some of them never will. I will never like the Pelicans City Edition this year.
Me neither.
I'll almost never like the Indianapolis one.
Me neither. That was literally the one I was going to bring up to you.
Why did I call it Indianapolis?
Some people really like, because I mean, they play in Indianapolis, but some people really like that one. I don't understand it. I don't like the Indy one. I don't like the Denver one still. I might even dislike it more now. Like, it might have grown off of me. Like, I didn't like it ever, but, you know. The
Boston ones always grow on me. Always.
I love the Boston ones. I'm talking
about every year. Like, even when, like, I was skeptical about some of them, they always grow on me.
Yeah, and one that has definitely, like, held up to me, the one that I really liked before the season started, but it was a little, like, that might be a little gimmicky. I'm not sure how well it's going to age. Is just grown stronger and stronger. The Knicks jerseys are so freaking fire. I love them.
I hated them with the court, but I like them. Now that the court is gone, I just like the Knicks. Those are just, I think they need to just stick around a little bit.
I love but they the won't font.
Because of how the City Edition goes.
Yeah, I agree. But like, I don't know why, but just the basic Times New Roman, and it's probably not even Times New Roman. I have no idea what that is. That it's like a very simple, basic font that you could find on Microsoft Word, I'm sure. But it just, set at like a little curvature, and it's just offset. Like, it has two prints, that they're staggered. It just looks like it's so like simple and so it's like such a good like jersey for like 2024 because it gives me like, it's like a throwback to early internet vibes, which is kind of like the aesthetic right now and a lot of music and stuff, It's just kind of I don't know. It scratches a very specific itch
that you just like. You're also a big fan of Power Blue.
Yeah, I am.
Not Magic. Powder, like power, like just that strong blue color. Mm. Any NBA franchise that has a color blue in their primary or secondary color, if they roll out a bright blue jersey, you're just like, that's the best one they have.
Yeah, it is.
Unless they
ones,
don't.
And the Wolves ones, those
Nuggets.
Nuggets, yeah. The Nuggets, Mile High City ones. Yeah, those are some of my favorites. Yeah. I don't know what it is about that just tone of blue, but it pops more than any other color does to me.
But if you don't have blue in your color, don't even dream of doing it.
Yeah. You're talking from my
yeah
preferences. Yeah, I'm not a fan of teams doing colors that aren't their own because it's like
are not their primary or secondary.
It makes it so your brand has no identity. You know what I mean?
But you don't even like teams using their tertiary color.
No, I'm fine with that.
No, you hate the Mavericks in green.
But the Mavericks I grew up with, green was not a thing. That's the only reason that like came out of nowhere.
That one irks you.
I wouldn't say it still irks me. But like
now that you know that there's it is the franchise, quote unquote, initially,
and I've gotten used to it and accepted that's part of their brand.
That's the Mavericks green branding.
Yeah.
So you like the San Antonio this year,
but that's different because San Antonio
it's like the city's colors.
Yeah, and they've definitely done a lot with that in the past. Like they're alternate. They do like the basic black, white, gray for everything, but then every once in a while they have that specific like Fiesta color, scheme that they do for their alternates, and I'm trying to think of one that's just them that does that.
Unacceptable. Oh, Portland PDX that looks like a Charlotte jersey.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It looks like a very aesthetically pleasing jersey that I like a lot. But I'm like, why? What
a different team?
What is the point of you wearing that color? And it's
the Pelicans rocking a neon green and purple,
and it's not even a good jersey at all.
Yeah. Nothing redeemable.
Mm-hmm. The Wizards one is kind of cool that they have right now, but like the weird like Dungeons and Dragons thing. But the color was like, why is this the Wizards?
Wizards.
Yeah. But I don't know if we mentioned it on the podcast when we were doing that episode, but I think it clicked with me while editing, like Dungeons and Dragons, like medieval, like that theme, Wizards, like, yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. Like, I get it. Like, there is definitely a train of thought to follow.
Yeah.
I just feel like that is a big track to follow. Like, it's like it's a long, winding trail.
It's definitely not like an instant click, like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But anyways, though, getting back on track to the All-Star game. So, yeah, jerseys, like those. But you brought up the home court advantage thing for the finals. I'm not like totally against that, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just trying to imagine a moment of like because the home court advantage matters a lot to the Nuggets, especially, and like I'm trying to imagine like a scenario in which like we lost the All-Star game and now I don't get to see my team win a championship, maybe because that like stupid detail that gets like maybe it's like a 5 seed that somehow made it to the NBA finals and they get home court advantage over, the Nuggets who are like the 1 seed out west or something.
Yeah.
I
get that.
Imagining that scenario just kind of, I'm like, I would definitely be mad about that.
I don't think it fixes, I think it makes more problems, but I do think it fixes the competitiveness of the All-Star game.
Yeah.
The game would immediately become everyone is like, okay, we got to get this one done.
I would think.
It'd have to. There's no way it wouldn't.
Yeah. So.
Because yeah.
I think it probably would. But the other thing I'll add to this is to me, there was never a point watching that game where I was like, man, I wish they were trying. I don't know why. Maybe I've just moved past that point because I feel like in the past I definitely have felt that way. And I don't know if that was just me writing the narrative of that everybody else was making. But this year, I was kind of just watching the All-Star weekend by myself. Didn't really see any of the narrative live. It wasn't until afterwards that I saw the think pieces and stuff like that. But while watching it, I was like, I just enjoyed it. It wasn't mind blowing or anything like that, but it was just, I enjoy watching just the interactions between players mainly is why I like just the players being figures as their personalities, and after having those kind of collide in a new way on being teammates, watching Tyrese Halliburton and Giannis and Dame, the Bucks kind of having, they're on the same team and interacting cordially, even though they've had some nasty exchanges this year. Seeing that is just kind of cool. Seeing LeBron,
future Nugget Luka Doncic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's just a given. Every year, Luka and Jokic giving us more content. But
no, I think my favorite was, I can't believe we didn't open with this. I guess I opened angry. We should have opened with the Jokic comments about Luka.
That Luka's terrible. Is that what you're talking about?
No. Did you not see this? That Nikola Jokic will retire before he plays for another NBA team. He said, I'm not leaving Denver. So if Luka gets pissed at Dallas, he can come here.
Oh.
Because someone asked, how is it to be teammates with Luka, and would you want to try and do that in the NBA? And Jokic's literal response was, I'm not leaving Denver. So if Luka gets pissed at Dallas, he can come here.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. It's definitely heartwarming to hear. I like that. But I feel like I already knew that 100%, you know what I mean? Jokic is such a faithful human being that that it's just it's nice. It's a luxury for sure. But that's something I've never had to worry about.
No, I know. I get, but I just was more saying that the fact that he straight up was
said it.
Luka can get pissed at Dallas. He can come here.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, the Luka and Jokic, them having content is just it's a given. It's every year they're always having fun doing stuff. But what I was saying with Jokic interacting with LeBron and AD when, they just went against each other in the conference finals, and they've had a couple, rematches so far in the year that have gotten a little not heated on court really, but there's definitely a lot of attention, a lot of people arguing on Twitter and stuff afterwards about them. There's definitely a little bit of a rivalry brewing there. But, them interacting, seeing Jokic interact with KD after, facing him in the playoffs last year, just those types of things. It's just kind of cool to see them having to be on the same team So those are the reasons why I guess like and still enjoy watching the All-Star game, even though it's not like a real game,
Mm-hmm.
because it definitely isn't. It's not a real game. But one idea that I saw from somebody, I don't remember where. It was a comment
Was it
somewhere.
Bill Simmons saying get rid of the 3-point line until half of the fourth quarter's left?
It was not that one, but I also like that one. That's a good idea as well. But the one that I was thinking of was somebody said something along the lines of like the way to fix the All-Star game is to, you get 1 point for each quarter you win. So like each quarter starts at the
Is a game.
0-0. Yeah. And you get 1 point for each quarter you win. After 4 quarters, if you're tied 2-2, which strategically almost every time they're going to do that because they already do that with the charity thing. Like they have each team win the same amount or whatever to get their charities money. So they'll do that, and then that will trigger a overtime that will be like
Which
an
is a
Elam
game of
ending.
horse? Okay.
No, it'll be like an Elam ending thing, and like that thing will decide who wins. And
decides who gets home court advantage in the not WNBA finals. That would be double wild if the East and West in the WNBA is who set the home court advantage for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
That'll make All-Star Weekend for the WNBA way more viewed than it is currently. That's how you bump up ratings.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
That's a terrible to bump ratings. For the WNBA, it is a great idea.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like if people would definitely have a problem with something, but it's like if that would be kind of wild. Anyways, though, like I think that would be a good idea. Like what I just laid out
the previous one, not the WNBA deciding the NBA's home court.
Yeah, the overtime that's like an Elam ending. Even if it isn't to decide like any advantage really, it's still like. I feel like if you're starting at 0-0 and it's like a fairly low target score,
no, make
it's like
a game to 24.
Yeah,
or 25.
Exactly.
Like the thing they did for the best All-Star we've had in the past All-Star game in the past 10 years was the year after Kobe passed away.
Yeah. And this
one was the best one we've had.
And this one would be even better because every time you know that you're starting from 0-0 going to 24 because it's overtime instead of that one, which was like added the 24 onto whichever team had the highest score. And that's
once they got to I think it was like once they got past the first team to get to 150, then triggered 24 points after that or something. It was weird.
It was after the third quarter, whichever team was ahead, you add 24 onto whatever point total they had, and that was the new target score. So it's like if a team's up by a lot going into the fourth quarter, then they're still up by a lot going, because they only need to score 24 versus the other team having to make up all that ground and then the 24. But this way, it's like actually a competitive, equal playing field every time,
and it's almost like
to win the game.
Every like normal person that plays basketball and guys like grow up playing basketball, that's what you play.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not 24, but like
if you do basketball in every case except for like when you're playing a organized game with a clock, it's always to a target score.
Yeah.
So, and I just like the target score dynamic because then every single game-winning shot is like every single game has to end with a game-winning shot. Like there's no way around that. And I think that's good. And it just gets rid of like the garbage time thing. It's just always like this excitement and pressure.
Excitement's a better word than pressure. Yeah. Because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I don't want it to be this like 89-92 slugfest. Both teams like. That's not what the All-Star game needs to be for both the longevity of players and the point of All-Star break. It's supposed to be a break. Mm-hmm. So if all the best players in the league are gathering and then like playing the hardest game of the season that's in the regular season, that defeats the purpose of the break. Yeah. But if it's just some dumb fun, a couple games to 24 or whatever you want to do, I think that would be, I like that idea actually a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that would be a good idea, but overall, though, like I don't think that there's anything we need to do. It's not like a tragedy to me, like it is. Like a lot of people are acting like it's a tragedy. How like the state of the All-Star game. Like I'll still watch it and still enjoy it, but I do get the appeal of wanting it to be a competitive game as well, though. So yeah, I guess those are my thoughts on that. I think that will be enough for All-Star game. We kind of went out of order here, but circling back to like some of the earlier things in the weekend, like the dunk contest. I don't know if you had any notable thoughts on the dunk contest or not, but I enjoyed it somewhat. Like it wasn't like
it's just going to be hard for dunk contests because all of the things that are like within the realm of like reasonable human capabilities have already kind of been done. Like there's obviously some like flares that you can put on it. But as a not salty Boston fan, but like if your flare doesn't always win. Like Jaylen Brown's whole thing was like, and obviously all over Celtics beat writers were like, this is what every dunk meant, and this is why he did this, and this is because he's from Atlanta, so that's why he did the Dominique Wilkins dunk. That was the big thing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Dominique Wilkins also ended up being a judge, but he wanted to do the tribute to Atlanta where he's from. The second dunk, the whole court turned to parquet.
Terrence Clark. Or was that
the second gut was the Boston dunk. The Terrence Clark one was the one of like someone that he was friends with passed away tragically, and he like did that whole dunk, and that was supposed to mean something. And then the best one, he saved for last, the haters with the left hand.
Yeah, with the like Michael Jackson glove.
Yeah. The only thing is the no-look dunk that he tried to do for the Boston thing. Because he tried to do like the eyes.
I didn't even catch that that's what he was trying to do until like apparently that is what
I think he forgot until the end.
Okay. I was gonna say because he watched it go through even and then like he put his head down.
And then the left-handed dunk, I loved that. I wish he would have taken his arm and like put it in his jersey and like just went up, and even if the dunk wasn't that cool, it would have been so much better to the haters for him to just do something like rock the baby with the left hand and put it down. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. I do really appreciate the whole thing of like the reason why he's there is because he wants to normalize the best players doing the dunk contest. And I think that's awesome. And I think there were some people like John Morant apparently said something about how he's more interested now in doing it, which that would be insane.
This is going to be Jaylen Brown's legacy.
Yeah.
Next year's dunk contest will be like John Morant, Wemby, LeBron will throw his hat in the ring for one of them. Got to add my accolades for the GOAT conversation. And then Mac McClung to defend his three-peat. And somehow Mac McClung will win again. And everyone will be like, wow, he deserved it this year. I'm glad because like Jaylen Brown, like I saw like, because I like looked on Twitter
wasn't
sometimes
even really
during
close, to be fair. Like it shouldn't have been. Yeah.
But like Jaylen Brown getting to the finals, like the high score, it felt like a little rigged going in to the like, just not because of that he didn't deserve to be this one of the top two guys, but the scores he got to get there, I was like, that's a little weird. Like he tried to do the no look and then didn't do it, and it still got like a 48-9. And I was like, that's a little weird. I don't remember the exact number, but Mac McClung, not just dunking over Shaq, but like Hemi Hawkins also dunked over Shaq, but it was like touched his back and like as unassisted as the 5'10" Mac McClung could do. He physically just jumped over Shaq, grabbed the ball, and then if he would have done it in front of him, wouldn't have been as cool. But then still gets it behind his head. First go.
That is just
big
wild.
Fan.
Yeah, I love that.
And then to get Shaq to put on your high school jersey, also sick.
Yeah, honestly.
Like had to get, and I think the showmanship of the dunk contest is where guys are going to be able to like, oh, that looked the same as the Blake Griffin dunk, but if you do something like showier, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like someone could be a psychopath and try to replicate any of the Aaron Gordon dunks, but if you like have Ernie Johnson be the mascot, that'd be cool. Ernie Johnson on like a step ladder. That'd be. I honestly would give that straight 50s if you make the dunk.
Honestly, no, yeah, I like that, and I think Mac McClung definitely deserved it. I thought was it his first dunk or second? I think it was his first one.
Which one?
The one where he like suspended the ball, like he
grabbed it off the guy's head, let go of it, and then came back in
and dunked it behind his head. I thought that one was a 50, but it didn't do that well. I don't know why. I don't know if I feel like. I don't think the judges see replays, which I think is a wildly terrible way to do this.
I think also judges are scared to give bad scores.
But like they gave that one not a good score. Like it was like the same as what they were giving everybody else.
No, but I'm saying is like because they have like, oh, we can't give anybody lower than a 40 something, like a 45. You've taken what used to be this like giant scale thing you could have where each judge only gets 10 points and that like sways it way more. Like there's like dunk contests where guys got like a 38.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And for dunks that were way better than
the worst one we saw,
Jacob Toppin did to get a 46 from that guy from the Pacers.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was.
Hey, I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know. I think the scoring thing was just, I don't know if they're afraid to give. I agree that they're not using
afraid's the wrong word.
They're not using the full scale.
Yeah, no, they're shrinking the scale. So then, like, what Mac McClung did was so much higher up than it wasn't 1 point different from some of the other dunks that got 49s.
Like if some of these other dunks are getting like based on the way that the dunk contest has been scored my whole lifetime, really, that's a 50. Like
no, and that deserves. No, that one is. That's not the one that I'm. His first dunk.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Shaq dunk was way more impressive.
Well, I think that one was a 50 also. But to me personally, if I could rewrite how 50s work and how many of them happen, then maybe I don't know if I would call them 50s because I would probably reserve 50s for like the best of the very best.
Like
you know what I
mean? Insane historical.
Yeah.
Like what he should have done is like flexed with one hand and slapped the glass with the other before he grabbed the ball. Just really show it up. Yeah. Even if the dunk itself isn't as powerful, if he goes up and like bang or like double flexes and then grabs it again.
I love that one because it was like that. It's so different. We've never seen somebody do that before.
Something like that.
The way he grabs it and fully like extends his arms out and like comes back in. It's just like, that's pretty dope. And like the ball like, kind of like hovers in the same spot. I thought that was great. It's not like the best of the best. Like Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon have had some of probably the best dunks I've ever seen in a dunk contest.
No, like that. Their 4 dunks are like top 20 of all time.
Yeah.
And that was in one dunk contest year.
Yeah. I think the Aaron Gordon off the side of the backboard, like the very side of the backboard into the grabbing it while doing a 360 and like spinning with his arm fully extended with the ball and then slant. Like that is probably, I think that's my number 1 dunk of all time. Honestly. The way that's just
under both legs is crazy. Like
that one's crazy. Yeah.
You could go through so many of them and not disparaging Zach LaVine, but like,
so Zach LaVine has, I think Zach LaVine has more than Aaron Gordon to me in the top 10, like a top 5 area. But number 1, I think, is Aaron Gordon's to me.
But Zach LaVine just has so many where it's like, I can jump far, free throw line, not disparaging that. Yeah. But he just did different things from the free throw line over and over again.
But they make my mind melt. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. Like when I'm watching like the compilation video that the NBA posts every year after the dunk contest, it's like they compile every 50 in dunk contest history and you just show them back to back. There's some of Zach LaVine's ones in there. I'm just like that. It's just on a different planet than these other clips in here.
Like it's a 51. It's just crazy.
But yeah. I guess dunk contest. I'm surprised we got that much out of the dunk contest for our podcast. I'm not usually not that big of a dunk contest person. I prefer the 3-point contest usually
because Jaylen Brown is doing his best to bring it back.
Yeah. So hopefully that works honestly to get more stars doing it.
Because if Ja does it, that'll be the domino. That'll be the domino that falls. Because Ja 1 will be crazy good at it.
Yeah.
And then
of course.
2, it'll be such a big name that like someone else will be like, okay, hold on, stop this. Let me do my thing.
Yeah, I think, and there's some guys even out there that are like aren't star level names, but I know that they would be amazing at the dunk contest. Like Shaedon Sharpe needs to do a dunk contest. Like he needs to. It's like his duty to society. Like he needs to do that.
Like when Zach LaVine said he wasn't, and then tore his ACL, and like that, like the whole joke was like, you didn't do your service to this world. Because Zach LaVine,
basketball gods were angry.
When he first got like into the league, was just like an explosive. Like he was not what Zach LaVine is today.
Yeah,
very raw.
He could shoot, but not a great decision maker. Didn't have it all put together yet, for sure.
Not focusing on the dunk contest served him very well as he evolved into a very good NBA player. Yeah. Just in general, as opposed to just like that crazy dunker guy. But
for sure. Going on to the 3-point contest. I thought that one was honestly pretty. They should not count Like, what is the point of the refs being there if they still count the baskets where the ref is pointing at the toes on the line, saying that's not a 3, and then they still count it? That's the reason Tyrese Halliburton didn't go to the finals, because Cat, on every single shot on his first rack,
was on the line.
And the ref was saying, not a 3, not a 3, not a 3, but they counted all of them. Like, I get it. I don't want to be the stickler of like, but like at the end of the day, it's the rule for a reason.
Why are they there then?
Yeah.
Why are they there?
Why are they there? And why is the line there? Like, if we're not going to call it, are we going to like have people like standing on the line with their heels, shooting it? Like, is that the world we want to be in? Like, I don't, it's just, let's shoot threes and count the ones that are threes and not count the ones that aren't threes. And that's the way we should go about things. So that's my number one takeaway from that one. But the other one was like, like everybody was just shooting so well that like Lauri Markkanen shooting a 25 just didn't make the final. It was like, like like everybody shot. I think the lowest score was a 21.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Like the lowest score of the entire thing was somebody shooting a 21. And the highest score was a 26. Like, that's kind of wild. But
wow.
What is your wow?
Creighton is playing UConn right now. Creighton is the best shooting team in NBA or in men's basketball history. They're shooting 60% from the 3-point line tonight against a very good UConn team. 56-39 is the score currently.
Is UConn like a good defensive team?
Yes. UConn's like, when they finally got to number one, because they're number one right now, where they're like, yeah, that makes sense. But Creighton is very good at the moment. They're playing very good tonight.
How many attempts do they have? Are they like really putting them up there? Shooting 60%?
19 attempts. It has been updated to 57.9% from the line on 19 attempts with 15 minutes left to go in the second half. So through a half in 5 minutes, they've put up just shy of 20. That's like a very insanely solid volume.
That's like a top, the average, like the team in the NBA that's averaging the most attempts per game is like around 40. So that's what they're on pace for in 8 less minutes of a game. It's like definitely a pretty
high volume.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But the other thing, though, I guess the skills challenge. Did you watch that? I don't know if you watched that.
I did not watch a lick of the skills challenge, other than people were very mad at Ant, and I love him so much.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. Though he shot. For people who don't know, he shot with his left hand during the.
Wasn't it All-Star Weekend, or was it just that? I thought it was the entirety of All-Star Weekend. He shot with his left hand.
I don't know. I guess that was the only time I noticed it. I noticed it also in warm-ups for the All-Star game. Him and Jokic shooting left-handed, like with each other. But I don't know about other than that. But during the skills challenge, the three different teams that were competing were Team All-Star, which was like Trey, Tyrese Maxey, and Scottie Barnes, I believe, were the 3 guys on that team. One of the other teams was the top picks team, which was the number 1 picks from 3 of the last 4 drafts. So it was Victor Wembanyama, Paolo Banchero, and Anthony Edwards. And the third team was the Pacers team, since this game was being held in Indianapolis, or All-Star Weekend was in Indianapolis this season. And that was Tyrese Maxey, Ben Mathurin, and Miles Turner. And so the team that went first was Team All-Star. And then the team that went second was top picks team. And they were on pace to beat the team that just went before them in this event. And Ant was the final leg of this thing. And he gets to the corner to where you take 3 shots. You have to make, as soon as you make one of them, you go on, you take the ball up the court and dunk it to finish. And he gets there, he starts shooting with his left hand, and like the way he loads up with it, it's like takes him like 3 times as long to shoot a shot, and he missed all of them except for I think he made the last one. But
that's the most Ant thing ever.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it so much because he just is like, he's like, I'm shooting with my left hand. It's the All-Star game. Ain't nobody care about field goal percentage. The whole weekend. He just shot with his left hand.
Oh, he did the whole weekend?
That's what he was saying. I can't find anything to see if he followed through during the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm going to only shoot with my left hand during All-Star weekend.
That's funny. But yeah, that was just I thought that was dumb when I was watching it. I was like, why did you just do that? It's just like it's different if you're doing it by yourself, but like you have a team, but still, I feel like the Pacers probably would have beat that one because when the Pacers went, they kind of demolished the what they had to beat. But that's the extent of my commentary on the skills challenge. I think, other than Scottie Barnes dribbling it off of his leg, it was kind of funny.
Also, Scottie Barnes at the All-Star game trophy ceremony.
I don't know if
I gotta remember what he just yelled. He yelled something. I don't remember what it was. It was just like an onomatopoeia. It was just a noise, but I can't remember what he yelled.
I love Scottie Barnes, honestly. He's just a funny guy. I like him. But yeah, and then the night before, the Rising Stars, I think we already kind of touched on that, but the G League team beat Wemby's team in that, which is kind of a big deal, big upset. I think it was Team Gasol was Wemby's team, and then Team Detlef Schrempf was the G Leaguers. So it was comprised of a bunch of people who are currently in the G League, and then also like all of them are currently in the G League, but some of them are like the G League Ignite players. Or at least one of them was.
I'm watching Scottie Barnes clips.
Oh.
It's impossible to not smile. Okay, I'm focused now.
Mattis Buzelis, the guy that's probably going to be a top pick, well, definitely going to be a top pick in this next upcoming draft. He was looking pretty good. I thought I don't know. He just seems like a guy that's going to turn out really well in the NBA. But I don't know. I really like the format. I enjoyed watching the Rising Stars game. There's not like a lot of notes or things that came out of it with like to talk about, but definitely a part of the All-Star weekend that I enjoyed. Like especially the players being mic'd up the whole time. It was just cool to see Ben Mathurin talking trash to Jaden Ivey.
And then putting 25K on 2 free throws and misses both of them. That was great.
He missed the middle. So he had 3 free throws at the end. He had a chance to win because they were at 37. They're trying to get to 40. He made the first one, so they're at 38. Then he said that he was going to put the game away, and bet 25K on it, missed that one, and then made the final one, which really didn't even matter because it put them at 39 when they have a target score of 40. So like the next basket would get them to 40 anyways if he didn't make the last one. So yeah, he missed one of them, but definitely it's just funny right after betting on it and being kind of like it's a Grant Williams moment,
I'm gonna make them both.
Yeah, and then the celebrity game. I don't know if you saw that at all, but
I'm glad that a professional football player was able to out-athlete people in a celebrity game.
There's a lot of NFL players though. There's like 4 of them.
But Micah Parsons is like an athlete among athletes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he was able to like have a quad double or whatever crazy stat line he put up. I'm glad.
Yeah, and then,
I hope so.
He missed a dunk. But
I also missed the days when I feel like the All-Star game was a lot more just like, let's throw Justin Timberlake. He's like, or Justin Bieber out there. He's like 17. He's pretty good at basketball. Now it feels like it's like guys that want to get their bread. Like, and look how good I am at basketball.
Former NBA players. Meta World Peace played in this one. Granted, he did not try at all, but like there were some plays where it's just like so easy. Like he was like, I'll score this possession, and I know I will. Which is wild to think that like Meta World Peace is like there's another example of an NBA compared to the rest of everyone gap. Yeah,
is like older Meta World Peace just was like, I'm just gonna do this. Stop me! You can't.
Exactly. And then there was this. I don't even think he was from America, but he was a gold medalist Olympic high jumper. Obviously, somebody that can jump quite high. He was dunking it quite a bit. He did pretty well. Jennifer Hudson was in the. She was definitely the biggest name, I would say. Just like of like star power. My favorite part of her time of the night was like before the game, they were doing like the interview, like while teams were shooting, like in warmups. And right after she got done with her interview, like she said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to dominate," or, something like that. And immediately turns around and then just airballs her shot from like 5 feet away from the hoop. It was just a funny moment. But I thought the Celebrity Game was pretty fun to watch. I loved how like the way they do the broadcast is very kind of like laid back and relaxed, and they just gave a mic to Lil Wayne, and so it's Lil Wayne and 50 Cent just like talking trash to each other. Like that's just fun to watch. And then Lil Wayne and Asia Wilson also being the 2 assistant coaches on Stephen A's team, and just seeing the sheer difference in the like.
No, because Lil Wayne is quite little. That's not just a fun name.
He's like 5'3".
He's a very little. Also, that was my favorite. Is there's some big streamer on the internet that's also like Lil Wayne size.
Kai Cenat. Or Kai Cenat or something like that. Yeah.
Him running around also made me smile.
Yeah.
It looked like a toddler playing basketball.
Yeah.
And apparently he released like a mixtape on Twitter before the game of him playing basketball against actual toddlers. He like had a bunch of children come out and play basketball against him in a random Y gym.
Yeah.
And it was portrayed to be like a real mixtape. But that's self-awareness that if you can't laugh at, that's just gold. That's perfect.
That's funny. But yeah, that was a good. I don't know. I was entertained by that one. But Lil Wayne standing next to Asia Wilson was like, wow. And I think Asia Wilson's like 6'4", maybe something like that. Which, by the way, while we were talking about it earlier, I did look up what the average height in the WNBA is, and it's like slightly over 6'2". So 6 foot is like the equivalent of like 6'4", 6'5" in the NBA, probably
roughly.
Mm-hmm. So we're pretty close with our estimation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the only other thing I would like to touch on before we get out of here is All-Star snubs. Because I think I had a segment on this last year, because it's always something that I feel the need to talk about. Because last year it was Aaron Gordon that Denver fans and Denver media people were acting like it was a crime that he was not in the All-Star game. And it was like, tell me who he is in there over. Like, I just... I hate it when people, and I've heard some people even say that, like Reggie Miller. I think it was Reggie Miller. Yeah, he was going off on this diatribe.
It's Jamal Murray this year.
Yeah, and he was going off on this diatribe about how much of a crime it is that the champs, the defending champs, don't have 2 All-Stars on their team.
But I think that's the thing is teams that good you feel like should have. People feel like they should have 2. That's the point. But I think that's also more of a testament to Jokic.
Exactly. It's like, to me, it's like, why doesn't it make sense that the best player in the world with good players around him, none that are,
he makes them great,
none that have been deserving All-Stars, like, because they haven't. Maybe in a vacuum. I'm not saying that they've never had like something that's like, I think Aaron Gordon last year had like an All-Star level season.
Yeah.
But there's just too many people ahead of him. And he didn't deserve to get in there over any of those people. And Jamal, I didn't even consider Jamal. I'm being honest. I didn't consider him when I was filling out my team.
Like listing off other snubs, Jamal's
De'Aaron
not
Fox.
even like the next guy off the list.
Exactly.
Or
Domantas
like 2
Sabonis.
Yeah, and that's just I was just saying, just in general, if you go like on both sides, quote unquote snubs, Jamal's like 10,
exactly.
10 to 5, somewhere. Like, it's not like he was right there and it just Denver's a small market. It just is. He's just not there, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
Big part of it is games played. Another big part of it is he just really hasn't had a regular season. Yeah, and that has continued to this season.
Keyword
where he
regular
is
season.
Anywhere close to what he has been in the playoffs.
Yeah, keyword regular season on that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the playoffs, like, people are just like stuck on like, he's shown to be that level of player, so he needs to be rewarded with an All-Star game. But it's like, what is the point of the regular season? He hasn't been what he's been in the playoffs. Like, he's had moments like he's always had.
But it's never stretches. It's never where like he takes over for 2 weeks where you're like, he is just on a bender. There's never like a Murray mad. There's never anything like that. There's a day where Jokic is like, I guess this really doesn't happen either. Jokic is a little off and Murray just goes crazy. That doesn't happen that often. It's not consistent. It happens, but not every night in and night out. It's not the same. Yeah. As you've got guys like Domantas Sabonis who are like the guy on their team more games, more frequently.
That's not that far behind Denver in the standings.
The West is also wild.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that, like, because Denver is I personally believe Denver's the best team in the West.
Uh-huh.
Standings, whatever. But, like, and after the All-Star break, I think that they'll start to be like, okay, let's go. Playoff time starts now.
We like stumbled into the All-Star break also. It didn't help. We lost
which pushed it. Because I think I saw it was like you were within 4 games of the play-in.
Oh, right now we might be, honestly. Because we lost the last 3 games. So
yeah, there's no world where I feel like that's
who we are
going to happen.
Yeah.
Or who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely like you look at the West and it's like, I can't remember the win totals, but it's like 39 to 33, I think is like the range of the top 6 teams.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sounds right.
I guess I have the power of Google. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets are still 4th. Yeah, we got 36 wins. Timberwolves are in first with 39, so we're 3 games back now.
39 to 33. Wow, I actually had that one. And then, so they were, the Nuggets were 4 games ahead of the Mavericks and the Mavericks are the 7th seed or the first team in the play-in.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Nuggets will definitely figure it out. They're the best team in the West. Clippers might give them a run for their money, but I think the Nuggets are like, you're being disrespectful and obnoxious if you think the Nuggets are actually the fourth best team. Yeah. I get the record says it. That's just wrong.
But I guess what people always go by, though, is like, oh, if they're the first team, they need 2 All-Stars. And it's like, so you're doing that with the Nuggets when they're the 4 seed and they have the best player in the world?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why is
it
I think
I
guess where I started with this, too, with going on the Reggie Miller thing is, I hate how he literally said after going on this full thing about how it's a crime that Jamal needs to be in there. And it's like ridiculous that he's not. He says, don't ask me who he's in there over. I don't know who he's in there over, but I just know that he has to be in there. It's like, okay, then don't say that. If you can't say who he's in there over, don't say it at all.
If you can't even make an argument, you don't even have a thought.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd be different if Jamal Murray was just they swap. De'Aaron Fox doesn't exist and they swap. That's different. But no, it's like Jamal Murray is down like a semi-decent list of guys that didn't make it.
Exactly. Both no King made it. And at the time of when the King, when the All-Star games were, or the roster was finalized, the Kings were the 5th seed. Like not that far behind Denver. And they had 0 All-Stars. And when Sabonis is leading the league in triple doubles right now. Like he's going on a Jokic tear right now. And like the Nuggets, have kind of sputtered. Like we're not having a terrific season. We're having a similar season to last year. It's just the West is a lot stronger at the top now.
Yeah.
But like the team as a whole is playing better. Like Jamal's obviously having a better season than he did last year. But Jokic is probably this is for sure. This isn't even debatable to me, honestly, that Jokic is having the worst season that he's had since he's won his
MVP
first
4.
Yeah, the last 4 seasons, which is like by and large like where Jokic just came to another level. I think it started when he went to the bubble, but that wasn't a full season. But like ever since then, ever since skinny Jokic, ever since those pictures happened, that is when Jokic entered this new phase.
This level, yeah.
Yeah. And this is the worst of the 4 for sure. I think last year was like actually his best. Last year, the one that he did not win, because he's probably going to win the MVP this year. So the one year that he did not win the MVP out of the 4
is the most deserving.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of best season, like if you go back and look at like comparatively, like if someone was close, you know what I mean? Because it gets weird. Like Embiid had a good season last year also.
Yeah, I mean, but Giannis had a great season, his first MVP year, and Embiid also had another good season, the second MVP year.
The second one.
And Giannis was right there that year as well. But it's really, honestly, I don't know why this never gets talked about, and why I keep forgetting to mention it too, because I've had this thought for a little while now too. Is it like those 3? Like I feel like right now in the moment, I don't know if everybody is like thinking about it this way, but in the future for sure. I think looking back on this era, it's like the Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis, just like, that era. Like it's just like this trio of like monsters. You know what I mean? Like,
because people are dumb, it'll be called the end of LeBron's career. But I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no, but I think for sure this era, like those guys will be like the face of this.
Like starting post bubble.
Yeah, let's say that. Mm-hmm.
Like people will look
ever
back
since
and be like,
Giannis' first MVP.
It'll be those three guys.
At one point, it looked like Embiid was going to win another MVP here, and it would have been those guys 3 in a row, all winning back to back. And I was like, I came to terms with that honestly before Embiid got hurt, and I was like,
no, because we were like, he just needs to play the games. He's having the season where he deserves MVP. Without a shadow of a doubt, deserves the MVP. And he's on that same level, in that same tier with Jokic and Giannis. I really do think so. I think the playoff success thing is a little bit unfair. Overblown.
Yeah. But Jokic, I still do think that Jokic performs and comes up big in the playoffs more than both of those guys do, repeatedly. Yeah, and Embiid is probably the third guy on that list of those three, but like those three just are like looking back, like when you're thinking about like the Duncan versus KG, that was kind of an era, Magic, Bird, obviously, Wilt, Russell, like these eras that are dominated by these two things, it's like this is like a three-way, rivalry that I feel like is like one for the history books, just three guys that are just having all-time stretches at the same time. Kind of like what we see in tennis, right? Or what were you coming to an end of?
Yeah.
In tennis with those three guys.
Yeah. Federer, Nadal, and Murray.
And
sorry.
Okay. I was going to say.
My brain went Andy Murray because I saw his face, but that's not correct.
Yeah, but I think he's consensus definitely, like some people think it should be called the Big Four and throw him in, but he's a kind of a clearly distant fourth to those guys, but it's like those three, and then Murray is like on his own tier above everybody else below them. But Djokovic, I don't know if we said it. Yeah, he's the other one.
I don't think I got to it
which is Jokic's countryman. Obviously, he's got the same nickname. They kind of have like a little bit of a bromance. Like I like those interviews where they kind of throw it back between one another. But yeah, so that's just kind of a cool parallel there. Both Serbian guys in there. But yeah, just that big three thing, I guess, is what I just kind of wanted to finally touch on. I felt like that could honestly be like a whole episode or like a theme of an episode or something. I wanted to I thought it was going to turn out that way, like celebrating Embiid's MVP this season. But, I don't think that will happen for obvious reasons because of the game played factor. Regardless of this rule, which I think is another thing we could probably talk about. I think I brought up that point. I went back when we talked about it, but I don't think I stressed it as much as I would have liked.
People that don't play in 65 games aren't going to win that often anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like
unless there's like a very bottom of the barrel, really like everybody missed a lot of time that deserves to be in the conversation. People that win 65 games aren't going to do it. There's
no way Embiid's playing like more than like 50, low 50s.
This year, for sure.
Like there's no way. He's at 34 right now. Like there's no way. He might be lucky if he plays half the season. If he plays 41 games. There's nobody ever that has come close to winning anything playing that many games. You know what I mean? So I don't know why it's kind of like people are treating it like it's this new rule's fault. When it's like just enter alternate dimension, remove that, like just act like this rule never was a thing, and then have this happen. This, you know what I mean? Like this would still be the case. Embiid would still not be winning or winning the MVP, but nobody would have this thing to blame it on. Like if this happened this year, like where we don't have the rule and the same injury happens, like he's not gonna.
He doesn't win.
Exactly.
No.
But nobody gets mad about it because we don't have this rule to blame it on. But everybody is still blaming it on this
Halliburton one, I think, will be the one that will actually like be the one that matters way more than Embiid. Because the Halliburton could be close, and maybe he'll, through the allowance, get to it, but like not even like Halliburton if he plays a perfect 64 games or whatever, would have been third team All-NBA at the minimum with how well he's played in the games we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
And so that's where it gets into the like, okay, tough, but yeah.
But yeah, so what got on a little bit of a detour there before we finished off what I kind of was trying to get into, which was the Jamal Murray thing. So like, there's a lot of people saying this, a lot of people that I respect and usually listen to, that are just like, but most of them are Nuggets people, so it's like, but people freaking out about Jamal Murray not being an all-star, and also some people, what like the reasonings behind like that people go into to try to explain why he isn't an all-star is kind of what's making me a little bit angry, because it's like it's going the opposite way on, like it's taking away from what Jokic is as a player. It's like not crediting him enough, because it's like people are acting like, I've seen a lot of people on Facebook saying this like exact thing, that Jamal Murray is playing in the shadow of Jokic. Like it's something that we've seen a lot. It's like
Jokic doesn't have a shadow.
Yeah, especially if like I would say that MPJ is somebody that's maybe suffers a little bit from a minimized role, like not efficiency wise, it helps him a lot. But if we saw MPJ on like a crap team where he's like the first or second option, like we see him putting up a lot more points, obviously. Like I feel like that would just be what would happen. But Jamal though, he has all of the shots, all of the touches that he could possibly want right now on the Nuggets. Yeah, like playing with Jokic, there's no.
He limits himself. Him passing the ball away is the one that limits him putting up shots.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like he doesn't have a low volume. Like he's like our leading shot taker, most of him or Jokic, and that's how it should be.
Yeah,
and so it's like if he played for another team, or like you just want him to put up 30 shots again, you know what I mean? Like there's not a team that would do well with Jamal Murray doing that.
No,
he takes a star level amount of shots and has that amount of usage. It's not Jokic. If anything, like he's getting all of those same amount of attempts, like all the freedom you could possibly have, while having the capability or the luxury of playing off of a huge like gravitational pull of Jokic, and like somebody that frees him up for so many easy baskets. It helps his game so much. Like it elevates him for sure, without a doubt. And I'll actually go out of my way and say that the biggest example of people having this narrative with somebody of Scottie Pippen, like people saying that Jordan held him back, I disagree with that too. I think that Scottie Pippen and Jordan together, it's like a match made in heaven. That's the reason why they're like the all-time great. So by definition, like they elevated each other. Jordan is not as good. His career and him as a player
his legacy is not as good.
Looked at as quite as much of the GOAT. I don't know if he would be the GOAT if he never had Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
And if Scottie Pippen never had Jordan, he would just be like another like kind of forgotten, like not forgotten, but like he would be like Clyde, like Scottie Pippen gets praised and held on a higher pedestal than Clyde Drexler for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's
undisputable. Yeah.
Much more remembered, much more like credited with things. And it's like, but if Scottie Pippen was a number one option on a team, is he really in a different stratosphere than Clyde Drexler was, who was a really good number one option on a good team that went to the finals?
No, he's literally just he's just like, when you break down eras and would look at years, like, oh yeah, Scottie Pippen was one of the better players of the era, but it wouldn't be this like
unstoppable force,
the immovable wall of defense that he was, and not taking away his ability to defend, but he wouldn't be regarded as this level of insane, because you look a lot better as a defender when anything does happen. You have someone else that is also world class.
You got a great
times 2 or 3 to help you.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen was definitely, he's the heart and soul and fulcrum of that Bulls defense for sure. But like the thing is, when you're talking about a guy who is going to go down as like a GOAT candidate or like a best player in the league type of thing, offensively, like to be a number one option, it's kind of the Klay Thompson thing. It's like, yeah, he's really good at all these very specific things that make him awesome in his role, and playing alongside a star actually makes him even better in that area. If you were by him, like he's not overshadowed. Klay Thompson was not overshadowed by Steph Curry.
Yeah.
We would not hold Klay Thompson to the same level all time if he had a career without ever playing with Steph Curry.
Because he wouldn't have the rings and he wouldn't have he just wouldn't have all of the moments that he had.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in all of those winning situations. He wouldn't, which he contribute. I'm not saying he got a free ride. Like, the Warriors would not be the Warriors without Klay Thompson, of course.
But Klay Thompson would not be Klay Thompson
without
as
Steph
we know him without Steph
Warriors.
Curry and the Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah. Draymond is that is one of the best examples of puzzle piece, the best just team building
Possible.
Of guys that are in theory, none of them were supposed to be that great.
Outside of Steph.
Even Steph was a big, he fell to 7th. People for a while, especially at the beginning of his career, was who knows? He gets hurt a lot. He can really shoot, but he can't. He's really small. He's not, he's not a point guard really.
I still think that Steph is maybe not the level of Steph because he might not have the rings if he doesn't have the cast with him. But I still think he is one of the best players in the NBA, regardless of.
Oh no, yeah, okay. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be Steph without those players, but because however it turns out, I feel you're still going to build somewhat of that system around Steph that they did build in Golden State.
Because he's just that good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess what I mean is
Klay Thompson could have been Wesley Matthews. It just wouldn't have been the same level of dominance.
Yeah. Just looking at it in theory. That
was a great pull by me, honestly. I'm pretty proud of that one. Right era, right skill set.
Yeah. But just looking at it in theory, Steph was never supposed to be a top of the league superstar. Because what he has when you're thinking about it in a vacuum of shot creation and he never really displayed that skill set at a level that's this is going to be your engine that carries a team.
This is going to change how people play basketball.
Yeah. But when you use him in he's not used in the way that any other star player really ever, other than Reggie Miller is the closest comparison as a number one option on a team being used that way. And building a team around that, and then having Draymond Green, who's just a star in his role. You know what I mean? Nobody is ever gonna have Draymond. If Draymond Green was on any other team for his career, he would be an all defensive team guy every once in a while, probably.
And that's it. That's it, literally it. He would go in and out of other people. He's Joakim Noah without the one random MVP season. No, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an all-decade player. He's not a maybe sniffles All-Pro once, maybe, but I don't even think he does.
Yeah, All-NBA, probably not.
All-NBA, sorry, not All-Pro. All-Pro's football. All-NBA.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't even think he would get an All-Star appearance if he wasn't on the Warriors.
No, if he didn't have everyone around him built to you do what you do.
Yeah,
do your job.
Just a good defensive forward,
Yep.
But the way that he was used though in Golden State is just the way that it's
he should have been.
Yeah, perfect puzzle pieces fitting together. And that is what I feel like Jamal is with Jokic and what Scottie was with Jordan. So I just think that people should stop saying oh, what a tragedy that those guys had to play with the better guy and that hurt them somehow. It did not hurt them. It helped both people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is where we'll end today's episode. Thank you guys for listening. Please check out all the stuff. Subscribe, follow the feed, do all the things. Check out the TikToks. Sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/hooptheory and buy me a coffee as well at buymeacoffee.com/hooptheory. We love you. We appreciate you. Stay happy, stay healthy, and we will talk to you guys next episode.
Peace.